Hey mamas. Hey, I wanted to take a minute to talk about how mamas need mama time, right? Man, most of you probably know that. Some of you might have a hard time admitting it. I do sometimes. So I wanted to do this topic because I've been a stay-at-home mom now for 2 months. And before I was a stay-at-home mom, I worked full-time and my kiddos went to daycare. It was stressful. I had to turn my children over every day at the beginning, with strangers, and had to entrust that they would take care of my children. So with my daughter, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, and I was so scared to take medicine. I stared at the medicine bottle on my counter for a few weeks before I called my doctor, and I said, couldn't do it. I didn't even take one dose. And she said, well, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm talking more. Okay. All right, is that helping? Yeah, it's helping. Okay, good. And then my dog passed away, and that was a bit traumatic. There's a whole backstory, but I won't go into that. And so I struggled a lot after that. And then we got pregnant with our son. And the doctor's office told me because I got pregnant so close together that I might experience postpartum depression during the pregnancy. Now, I've always been really tightly wound. I like things a specific way. I have high expectations of people. I expect others to treat me the way that I would treat them and give me the same decency. So that was already a thing for me. But postpartum depression made it so much more heightened. And then the lack of sleep. And then, I worked through it with my first, and I got pregnant with my second. Okay, so now I'm chasing my second around. And at the time, she was only a year old. Actually, we found out we were pregnant a week after her birthday. And chasing her around, and I kept telling my doctor, something's not right, I'm so tired. And she's like, Lauren, your baby is so young still, and you're growing a person. My husband kept saying the same thing, and my family would say the same thing, and I'm like, no, something's not right. Finally, we did the glucose test. Guess who's anemic? Me. Found out I was anemic, so it was making me overly tired. Okay, so being overly tired was making me super stressed out because I was working full-time, growing a little person, and raising a little person. My husband works evenings. He wasn't home with me to help me with the toddler. I was losing my freaking marbles, okay? Then my little guy was born, and thankfully my husband got some paternity time. So he'd wake up with the toddler, take the toddler to daycare while I slept and was able to get up with our newborn, so I didn't have to worry about getting her off to school. And then he'd go pick her up again, so I could just focus on the new little babe. Well, then he went back to work, and then now I'm trying to juggle all that, right? It's serious biz. Okay, so right before I gave birth to our son, we ended up pulling my daughter from daycare, the daycare she was going to, because they had popped her elbow out of socket, which is called nursemaid's elbow. They had done it 4 times. They had also found that one of the teachers had a THC vape pen in my daughter's classroom that one of the children got their hands on. So I reported it to Child Protective Services and hoped that they would close the daycare, trying to protect these little people, right? Especially mine. Guess what? Child Protective Services claimed that there was no report of any of this through the daycare. The daycare didn't have any reference to any of this. So I yanked my daughter out of there, and I found a new daycare. So let's backpedal and talk about the feelings I was having with my daughter being at that other daycare. There's wait lists everywhere to get your children into daycare. I'm talking like 3 to 6 month wait lists. So there was a month of stressing out, being scared to go to work. I'm a month away from having my son. I was freaking out, okay, losing my dang marbles. I was calling my husband every day crying, why do we gotta send her? You know, my heart's getting tight and it's doing this number. Why do we gotta send her there? I hate this. I hate this. I hate that I have to entrust a stranger to take care of my children. And at this point, she had been there a year. My daughter had been there a year, and she's moved through 3 different classes, you know, because she's getting older. I'm stressing out. And then I find out that the infant teacher that I loved was leaving. So then I'm like, oh my God, I gotta leave my brand new newborn baby with another stranger. And I already don't like what's going on in the toddler classroom. And my heart's doing this. And I'm crying and I'm losing my marbles, right? So I called the daycare that we had chosen to transfer to. And I explained the situation. They immediately found a spot for her. Okay. Heart's coming down. Heart's coming down. This daycare, instead of it being by our house, it was smack dab between mine and my husband's work. My husband and I work for the same company, but we work 5 miles apart. The daycare's right in the middle, so either one of us could get to our children. Okay, sweet. So they got her a spot, and oh my gosh, guys, the new place was night and day from the old place. So the first part of this is I'm urging you guys that if you are a mother that works and you need to find daycare, please, 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 not only should you go and look for daycares, but once you think you found the place, bring your most trusted mom friend or your most trusted mom figure in your life, whether it's your mother. For me, it is. I took my mom with me, in fact, to the second daycare and had my mom check it out. Like, hey, what do you think? And she's like, I give it the Grammy approval. Sweet. So, at almost 2 years old, my daughter started a new daycare. My son went to that daycare. We loved it. And then while my son was 3 months old, he got sick. Looking back, the doctors believe he had COVID. But there's no confirmation of that because back in December, COVID didn't exist, right? Anyways, he was 3 months old, so I had just started back to work. I'd only been back to work for like 2 weeks, right? And I had to leave. He had a fever. Actually, it was my daughter that had a fever. The next day, he went to daycare, and then when he came home, he had a cough suddenly. By bedtime, it was a hoarse cough. By 9:30 at night, I was on the phone with 911. He's in respiratory distress, not breathing. Yeah. So I was out of work for 2 weeks, and that whole time I'm stressing out. My son is sick. My baby is sick. His fevers were spiking. He was projectile vomiting because he's coughing so hard. He went from drinking 30 ounces a day down to 15 ounces a day. He lost a pound. Like, I was losing my marbles, okay? Being a working mom and having to send your children away for you to work is so hard. It's so stressful. Because you have to entrust that these people that you're paying are going to care for your children the way that you would. And then when you're at home caring for your children, you're stressing because you don't want to lose your job. You don't want people to forget about you because they just forgot about you while you're on maternity leave, right? You get taken off projects while you're pregnant. They don't put you on projects. They just your career comes to a halt while you're pregnant. And then you come back and everybody's like, hey, you know, they're all excited to have you. Okay. But then while you're at work, you're stressing about your little guys. But when you're at home, you're stressing about not working because you know what kind of workload you're going to come back to. You know, your peers are going to be salty. Just moms go through a lot of serious freaking business. So many people don't understand what moms go through, and it kills me. Moms are expected to be that awesome working mom, and you're supposed to be this awesome stay-at-home mom too. You're supposed to be able to take care of these babies and raise them up to be decent humans and have the cool social experiences with them and take them to zoos and do the crafts and do the cooking and teach them to be good human beings, right? But you're also supposed to be working, and you're also supposed to keep the house clean, right? So you're like under all this stress, regardless of the fact that no one's actually saying that, but that's the stress you're putting on yourself, right? Okay, so let's go back to I was off for 2 weeks. When I came back from being off for 2 weeks with my son, who had been in and out of the hospital and doctor's appointments, I was told I wasn't a team player. you made me use my vacation time, and then you're going to tell me I'm not a team player because I didn't log in daily to check in on my team while I was caring for my 3-month-old extremely sick child. Okay. 3 months after that, COVID. Work shut down. Done. And you're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? But then you realize this is your opportunity to have all that time with your children, right? And you love it. You love it to pieces. You think it's the most amazing thing. And it truly was. I hate COVID. I think it's stupid. I think it's so blown out of proportion. But I'm very grateful for it because it's given everyone the opportunity to slow down. Okay? It's given everyone the opportunity to step back. Think about yourself and your family. Enjoy seeing your child crawl for the first time, seeing him walk for the first time. I miss these things with my daughter because she's at preschool or daycare, excuse me. So what a blessing. I know I've gone on for a little while, but like this is just so important to me. It's important that we as mothers speak up and make time for ourselves. Because listening to all that stress, your heart's probably racing too, like, oh my God, I feel for that mom, right? How do you take care of yourself? How do you take care of yourself? So anyways, flash forward. I've been staying at home for two months. It's been wonderful, but it's also so stressful because these kids have tantrums. There's nothing you can do about that. It's part of growing up and learning how to deal with their emotions, right? It is what it is. And they feed off each other. My son is just over a year old, and he's still learning to talk and express himself, so we'll be driving down the road, and he'll be like, ah! And then my daughter goes, brother, no! And I'm like, hey, stop. And then he, ah! And then she, brother, no, use your inside voices. I'm like, hey. Next thing you know, just straight up screaming contest between the two kids. And I'm like, just driving, try to get home. These dang kids are making me lose my dang marbles. So, anywho, today, I've been telling my husband I need a new toy bin for my daughter because she's got a lot of freaking baby dolls. I saw one on the marketplace for $15 and I was like, yo, I'm out of here. The lady was like, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were 35 minutes away. I could have met you somewhere. And I was like, oh, Momma. I got my iced coffee. I got time out of the house. And I got my mommy music on. Not Coco Melon. Not nursery rhymes. Wheels on the bus go round and round. Nope. Nope. No Itsy Bitsy Spider. No singing ABCs. Mommy music. Pop 2K. Love me some Pop 2K on Sirius XM. Love the country station on Sirius XM. I'm talking blaring. Oh, there's a car accident in front of me. Freeway's blocked. No sweat. Out of the house. So anyhow, the point of all this is that we all feel for each other, right? We all have the same stresses. We all have the end goal of raising decent human beings. We all have the same stresses of trying to raise these little people, taking care of the house, taking care of the family, and this is stuff people didn't used to talk about. And that's why I just don't understand, 20 years ago, people didn't talk about moms losing their marbles. They just thought, oh, that mom's just taking care of business. No, that mom is secretly losing her marbles inside. And if somebody tells you that they're a mom and they're not losing their marbles, they're freaking lying to you. Because every mom comes to a point where inside her head, she's totally losing it. Because these kids are crazy. They have tantrums. And frankly, sometimes there's just nothing you can do about it. Sometimes you're not getting sleep because you got a newborn, or maybe they're sick. Maybe your children are sick. Or maybe stress in general is just keeping you awake. Anyways, I've rambled on long enough. I've told you guys my stressors of motherhood, but please reach out to somebody if you need help. I'm a great listening ear. If I haven't experienced it, I will try to help you through it. Even if I did experience it, I'll still help you through it. I firmly believe that all mothers need to lean on each other. We need to lean on each other so much, because no one understands a mother like a mother. It's the truth. There's even stay-at-home dads, but still, those dads, they don't feel like we feel. And I'm not discrediting dads. I'm not doing that at all, because dads love wholeheartedly. But a man's brain is different than a woman's brain. And a woman feels emotions more than a man feels emotions. Men can compartmentalize women. Somebody asked us a question, man, we just let it all spill out. So seriously, reach out to somebody if you need help. If you just need a vent because you're losing your marbles today and your kids are driving you freaking nuts, that's okay. If you need to put them in the car seat and let them fall asleep while you're driving, simply to get some peace and quiet, just so you can go pop through the drive-thru and get yourself a drink, do it. Do it. Any opportunity you can get to get out of the house, do it. Please, I'm begging you all. Okay? Anywho, I'll be back later to talk about different pumping options, but this is just something that's been really near to my heart over the past few years, something that, frankly, I don't think moms get enough credit for, because each and every one of you is a freaking rock star. You're all rock stars, okay? You all are amazing, amazing. And this is something that people that don't have children have no idea about. Anyhow, we'll talk to you guys later. All right, bye-bye.